The last race of the season may have ended on Sunday, but that didn't mean the cars and drivers were done with the season, as the Pirelli tyre test was held on Tuesday. And this has created some big moments and even crashes, and even some leaks about format changes for next year. Stick around to find out what exactly happened during the test and what we can expect to change for next season. The combined young driver test and 2024 tyre test featured 25 drivers, with Ocon topping the timesheets with an hour to go and finishing just under 3/10 faster than McLaren's Pato O'Ward, who set his time with 44 minutes remaining, and Mercedes' Frederick Vesti, who improved to third in the final minutes of the session. Sergio Perez finished fourth, less than a tenth faster than Ferrari driver Carlos Sainz, who was driving the car that Charles Leclerc drove in previous weekend. The team stated that this was planned prior to their trip to Abu Dhabi, rather than in response to the Spaniards' problems at last weekend's season-ending Grand Prix. The day was all about putting laps on the board for those entrusted with their car for the afternoon, much as their counterparts from the morning, as the 2023 cars had their final taste of real activity. Unfortunately for the drivers, the day was filled with crashes and red flags. It all started when the test began 25 minutes late due to the wait for the medical helicopter. After that, the first real red flag was issued after just 36 minutes of running. This was caused by a water leak between turns 13 and 14. This came from the bridge that connects the W Hotel across the track. The spill contained not just water, but also an oily material, necessitating a 24-minute shutdown to clean up. After this, George Russell ended up in the barriers at turn 6, which produced the second red flag of the day. This resulted in a 25-minute delay when his car was retrieved and returned to the pits with front right damage. This was the outcome of an accident caused by car failure, according to the team, and it cut his day short. Red Bull driver Jake Dennis spun at the turn 12 left-hander mid-afternoon, but was able to recover in time for the practice to continue, while Williams driver Zach O'Sullivan spun at turn 1 with 77 minutes remaining. Ayumu Iwasa stopped in a cloud of smoke at the last corner, triggering a third and last red flag of the day with 37 minutes remaining. It was nice to see young drivers on track, but the day was focused around testing Pirelli rubber and car setups to start 2024 in an optimal way. This day of tyre testing often allows teams to use the new specification rubber for 2024. However, the Pirelli tyres used next year will be the same compound and structure as this year's rubber. According to the rules, the tyre test car must run to a specification that was employed in one race weekend during testing during the previous 2 years. That implies that all 10 teams used their 2023 machines. Ferrari, Aston Martin, Williams and AlphaTauri divided the day by running both of their racing drivers in the tyre test car. Red Bull, Perez, Mercedes, Russell, McLaren, Oscar Piastri, Alfa Romeo, Zhou Guanyu, and Alpine Ocon all fielded just one racer, while Haas used their F1 reserve driver Pietro Fittipaldi, who completed the most laps, 130. This full day of driving gave Perez the opportunity to test the Red Bull RB19 to its limit, clocking 117 laps. Given the limited importance of tyre testing, this basically became an opportunity for him to experiment with setup and driving methods following his 2023 troubles. Perez ended the season rather well after 3 days spent at the Red Bull facility in the simulator and talking with engineers after the Qatar Grand Prix in a bid to halt a decline in form. The possibility for a day of testing outside of a Grand Prix weekend at the conclusion of the year was thus a crucial opportunity to improve on that ahead of 2024. The testing day was also a perfect opportunity for the youngster to show what they're worth. Thus, when the temperature reached its high in Abu Dhabi, the circumstances enabled for faster lap speeds, with Ocon taking the lead in the final hour and youngster Pato O'Ward moving second after him. This made IndyCar racer and 2024 McLaren reserve driver O'Ward the fastest of the young drivers in second place, and he clearly enjoyed the opportunity to improve on his FP1 performance last Friday. He had a wide-ranging run plan that helped him boost his trust in his car to new heights. The run plan today was a little bit of everything, O'Ward told the crowd. We did 103 laps. Just in the morning it was 73 or something, and they were continuous laps, not many cooldowns. We did more than a full race distance, which was a first for me, just really reading the car on the tyre deg, getting to push it, getting to experience what does it do when you lock the rears, when you lock the fronts, what does it do when you lose the rear, do you need more downforce? All these things add up to quite a lot of lap time. These cars are so capable that you need that confidence in them in order to extract the lap time. In the afternoon when we did the low fuel runs, the way that you can attack the car compared to a high fuel or a mid fuel is a big difference, just the commitment and the confidence you have to have in it. It feels unbelievable. They are just machines. While IndyCar star O'Ward was second with his quickest time of 24.662, F2's Vesti lowered his time to just 0.017s behind O'Ward within the final minutes of the day to be third quickest on the day. And with both rookies clocking over 100 laps apiece, it will have been a valuable day behind the wheel. Other rookies also broke the century lap mark at Yas Marina, including Jack Doohan, Robert Schwartzman, Felipe Drugovich, Jake Dennis, and Oliver Bierman, as they became used to the difficulties of driving Formula One cars. A late red flag for a breakdown for Red Bull Junior Ayumu Iwasa cut him short on 96 laps, with smoke spewing out of his engine at turn 16. But it was still a rewarding day at the wheel of an AlphaTauri. Colapinto completed 65 laps and finished 22nd before handing over the wheel to fellow Williams driver Academy hopeful O'Sullivan, who ran for the last 3.5 hours after getting his first taste of the car in FP1 last Friday. The day was filled with learning moments for the youngsters and even the experienced drivers. But this wasn't the only noteworthy thing that has happened since the last race of the season, as during the Grand Prix weekend, talks about format changes were held. And now, F1 CEO Stefano Domenicali has stated that alterations to the sprint format will be implemented in the 2024 season, but remained tight-lipped about the specifics. Since its inception in 2021, the format has mostly divided opinion among fans, while a fan survey this season suggests that reviews for the shortened Saturday races are more good than negative. Sprints were expanded from 3 to 6 rounds in 2023, and Domenicali said that the proposed changes will take into account fans who have not previously supported the format. The F1 Commission met in Abu Dhabi to examine several adjustments for the 2024 season, including sprints, and the possibility of format changes such as a reverse grid element and time changes to allow for parc fermé tweaks is said to have been addressed. The F1 boss feels the fraction of fans who dislike the sprint format as a whole is decreasing, but he hinted additional adjustments to the format in order to please as many people as possible. "We will do something. I cannot spoil anything that we are discussing, but I think that what we're going to do is to consider all the lessons learned from this year," Domenicali said. "I think that what you will see is something that you will appreciate, and what is great is that the survey that we did all around the world that the fans love this format, and we have the duty to fine-tune the things that will consider also people and fans that are not really in love with that format, that will change because they're getting smaller." But those aren't the only changes for next year, as we'll also see some schedule and time changes. For example, Japan has been moved to the 4th race slot of the season, meaning we'll see the cars hit the Suzuka circuit in April. But that isn't all, as Las Vegas will also get a rework for their timetables, as F1 was chastised at the Las Vegas Grand Prix when Carlos Sainz drove over a manhole cover in FP1 and the extended delay to FP2 forced fans to be taken out of the grandstands before the session. The race itself was exciting, and the sport's CEO feels Formula One has been elevated to another level as a result of its visit to Las Vegas. "I think that the timings we were discussing with the community, the reason is very simple for that time," Domenicali explained. "It was because the city, first year of experience and the first time that we were in a city in Vegas, only F1 was able to do it. We don't have to forget that, and with that we took F1 to another level, I would say. I was worried about the traffic. We have discussed it to dissipate everything. We will do it. I loved what has happened. I loved what we did as a sport. The race was great. The sphere I called U2 turn because Bono and U2 were performing a lot there. We took that area and we transformed that in an incredible experience for all the fans in the United States of America, so that's where we are growing." So, what are your thoughts on the end of season shenanigans and the proposed changes for next year? Let us know in the comments below.